Hey everyone, welcome to the Insights segment of the Eye Care Marketing Insights, Innovation, and Impact live broadcast series with my friend, colleague, and wonderful guest, Marietjie Cilliers. I'm your host, Dr. Sandy Eveleth, and whether you're live with us now or watching the replay, we'd love to hear from you, so please drop us a comment or question below. Marietjie completed her bachelor's degree in optometry in 2008 at the University of Durban, Westville, South Africa. At the end of 2012, she completed her postgraduate diploma in diagnostics and advanced contact lenses through NECO, my alma mater, USA. And in October of 2017, she completed her postgraduate certificate in ocular therapeutics through SUNY USA. Marietjie is now licensed to use and prescribe ocular therapeutic drugs as needed. In 2020, she completed her clinical certification with the Stark-Griffin Dyslexia Association and is now a registered dyslexia diagnostician. Marietjie has a special interest in ocular surface disease and pathology, specialty contact lenses, and dry eye management. She's the author of Vision Straight's Practical Guide to Anterior Segment Conditions, now available in Kindle format on Amazon. Marietjie has been a speaker at local and international conferences and numerous online webinars across the world. She's also the founder of Guru Med, a unique and exciting international learning platform that brings practical eye care training to you and is the subject of most of what we'll be discussing today. You can register for updates on upcoming training, and I'll be having this banner kind of running across the bottom, but you can do that at mygurumed.com, which is the site. Again, I'm going to have it scrolling at the bottom. I'm so excited to be speaking with you today, Marietjie, especially where we share a love for helping optometrists grow their practices through online and offline trainings. Now, not only do you provide trainings with your platforms that we'll be discussing in a moment, but you also have spent an impressive amount of time going above and beyond the usual optometric education route. So tell us a little bit about your extra specialization, certification, etc. In other words, what drives this entrepreneurial spirit of yours? I can say that word. So take it away.
Oh, thanks. Thanks so much, Sandy. And yeah, thanks for having me. It's always such a pleasure to be, to be having chats like this. In preparation for this, I was like, I'm so excited to have this conversation because nothing better than having two passionate people coming together discussing, what matters the most to us. So I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me. So yeah, my husband has a saying. He kind of says, you know what, you're a little bit slightly crazy, and that's very true. I think crazy kind of drives me. I haven't stopped learning. Since I finished varsity, it's just been part of me just to continue growing in a personal capacity. Purely because my patients require the best from me. And every time I have a patient that I struggle to manage because my knowledge kind of is not intact, then I would always push myself to go and find the knowledge that I needed to be able to manage that patient effectively. I was also very privileged to end up in a practice that's very rural. I was just saying earlier is that, we don't even have fiber yet, so you can understand how rural we are. So, and the patients here really don't have the medical care that they need. So it pushed me very much into the pathology section. And at that stage, optometry in South Africa, we did not have therapeutic licensing. So I just kind of did what was in front of me to do. First step was the diagnostic side of things and doing advanced contact lenses, which we were very grateful for NECO to actually, make that course available for us. And then the moment therapeutics was even a thought and an option, I was like straight on that bandwagon. So yeah, that took me about 3 years to complete. And it's made such an amazing difference in my patient care, in the way that I manage my patients. And, we've really been able to serve the public a lot better that way. The most satisfying thing is having a young child who's pretty much blind from something like VKC and taking him from that and being able to function fully at school with the problem practically resolved, So I think in terms of patient care, that's what's driven me all of these years to just continue improving myself, to make sure that I'm the best that I can be for my patients.
Sure. And obviously full scope care is what's needed because you are in a rural location. So not only did you want to do that, and you are the type of person that pushes yourself with all this learning that you do, you knew that you had to provide that kind of care because you are in a setting that demands it. I'm sure that, there's miles and miles distance between patients and, other facilities that are be able to do what you do for them. So that's absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure that it kind of sparks that entrepreneurial spirit. I said a little better this time, for these other endeavors that you're providing. So go ahead. Let's just jump right into it. Let's, tell me why you decided to create this thing called mygurumed.com. And you do have another platform that we can talk about as well. But how, tell us how the trainings are set up, how our community, the eye care community, can benefit from the platform. I've got access to it as well. So I was able to look behind and already love the courses that you offer in there. So go ahead and tell us, as much as you want. And let's go ahead. I'll bring it up while you're talking about it.
Okay, so yeah, with GuruMed, the thing that I found, and this was even before COVID hit, so I started developing this probably early on in like 2019. The challenge I had firstly was the fact that traveling was difficult. At that stage, I had 3 little kids, and getting out of the office to actually attend conferences to grow in my practical capacity was really difficult to do. And then whatever material you will be able to find is highly research-based and highly, kind of theoretical, but a lot of the material is not brought back into practice. It's difficult to take a research study and make it function in your business, make it a feasible business concept. So now I've got all of these degrees, I've got all of this knowledge, but how do I actually take that, make that a sound business endeavor, actually make it generate income and generate feedback into my business? So in my journey to actually make that work in my practice, I ended up realizing that this is a very big gap in the eye care industry. There's no practical training. So how do I take step A and make it step B and make it step C? And then the financial side of that, how do I actually implement this in my practice? How do I train my staff? How do I put processes in place to make this function, on a day-to-day basis? So that's basically the brainchild of GuruMed. And what I did is I wanted to share as much of my practical knowledge as I was physically capable of doing. And you guys can see there, that's the homepage, but I'm going to just drop into the courses section. So at the moment, there's 4 main courses, although I'm thinking of decomposing some of them because some of them are up to about 20 hours worth of content. So it's a little bit overwhelming. So it might look a bit different, but the basic idea around the courses currently available is how do you as an eye care provider specialize yourself in a user-friendly manner, but not just having the theoretical knowledge, also the implementation side of things. One of the big things I got involved with is dry eye management and taking the DUCE 2, and I was with therapeutics when TFOS released their DUCE 2 study. And it was amazing content in terms of research. The information that came out of that was just absolutely fantastic. But again, how do I now make that work? So the dry eye masterclass came from that. It's how do I actually put this into place? What is the templates that I can use? Dry eye record cards, things like that can make your day-to-day functioning as a dry eye practice really possible in a quick time span. And then the practice assistant dry eye practice course goes hand in hand with that. So my idea is just to give you as the optometrist or as an eye care provider the information you need to actually become specialized and practice in that space, but also to train your practice staff to assist you. Because I know for me, the big problem was time. How do you get the time to train your front staff, to train your admin staff, to train a clinical assistant when you barely have time to manage your patient care, So I started recording my training sessions with my staff, and this is really a very, very big tool that a lot of eye care practices are missing out on, because as optometrists, we end up doing everything. I mean, you do the screening and you do the OCT.
Right.
Do everything, and then you cut your consult time down to 10 minutes because, gosh, now I've got another patient waiting. I mean, that is silly, because you have team members in the office that can do the technical side for you. Right. And then what we do at GuruMed is we train them, we make them adequate to do that for you so that you can do the stuff that no one else actually can do.
Well, and you've touched on something near and dear to my heart. It is absolutely vital to have these systems in place to do training and onboarding. And, it's an ongoing thing. It's not a one and done necessarily. And what I love is, because you know me, I'm all about specialties and teaching people how to market their specialties. And what I see time and time again is there are a lot of practitioners, a lot of articles out there in our trade magazines that just talk about how to have this in your practice, but not necessarily how to market it in your particular, demographic, and not necessarily how to train your staff. Because of course, the staff are really the first point of contact, even from just the telephone conversation when they're triaging patients on the telephone. That's vital. That's important to know that you need to get them in for a dry eye management, excuse me, kind of appointment, and then go from there, just to continue that importance of how often they need to be seen, the importance of annual eye exams, all of that. That's, it's sort of a marketing and sales about the actual procedures and about what you're having them there for in the office. So without having that system in place of onboarding your staff, it's almost I don't want to say a waste of time, but it's almost, you're leaving so much money and so much treatment opportunities on the table, where patients, you're doing it a service if they don't know that these are the kind of things that you do. So I love the fact that you're also bringing that sort of onboarding training in here. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
No, it's a pleasure. And I'm busy working on a very big practice staff program where we want to get from the basics right through onto the system. So, and like I said, I walked this road, I was in a practice, my practice has been running for 11 years, and December, January, I lost about 2/3 of my staff complement in about 2 months.
Wow.
And that was a train smash, because I had people in place. I had an optical assistant doing the screenings for me. Suddenly I had to run all of this myself. And the challenge in that was not the running it. The challenge was getting new people in and getting them at the same level as I was when I left off. And now I've got to run the whole business, do all the screening, do all the patients, and do the training. It was just so overwhelming, So
Sure.
the vision in the next 2 or 3 months is that we have that pre-training ready and ready to go on GuruMed. So if any practice has a new staff member, normally employees work a 30-day notice period, and in that 30-day notice between his current job and his job with you, he has time to go through the basics, and he walks in at least basically trained in optics with a basic sound knowledge of what is expected of him. And you don't have to start from, oh, by the way, this is contact lenses, this is glasses. These are things we don't think about, but this is the conversations we end up having with our new staff, So that is on that's on the planning for the next few months.
I'm actually going to throw a banner up here so that people understand. This is just so powerful. Ahead of time, let me just write this, what I'm saying. Yeah, and I actually helped and have helped others in the past, an eye care colleague, where train them how to go through your office, just even if it's just taking your iPhone and doing some of the onboarding for specific systems that they may have in place. So you've actually done the work for optometrists and eye care companies and eye care providers to actually do this for them. So that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah,
because there is so much time, and actually just getting everybody on the same page, because just some of the jargon that we use and some of the language, and then trying not to use jargon and teaching staff how not to use jargon when they're explaining certain techniques and certain benefits to the actual patients. So and I'm sure this is going to continue to grow, because as each new specialty that you think about and provide, you're going to be able to onboard all kinds of things on here, including vision therapy and things like that, which would be also very beneficial. This is fantastic.
Exactly. And that is really the vision. The vision is to be able to provide as much practical knowledge and as practical tools for the industry as possible. And this is basically focused on my specialities, because that's the stuff I do all of the time. But the exciting news is that we're hopefully getting a few more instructors on board very soon, and they carry their own specialities. And like you just said, Sanias, what happens then is that you have the clinical side of your speciality, the actual doing it as an optometrist, optometrist side, but you also have the business side that comes in with that. And each one of those instructors that come on board brings in their own view of how that's done. So it has the optometric side, it has the business side, and it has the staff training side, which is really, really, really a valuable tool for any practice.
Sure. And I know that you're in a different country, but I know that I'm sure you've even thought of this, that in the US for, insurance companies to use the ICD-9 codes and, procedural codes, et cetera. So I'm sure that you'll bring on an expert to do things like that sometime in the future, because billing is such a big deal. And I'm sure it is,
exactly.
is for you as well, using different codes or whatever that needs to happen. But that would be huge too, because again, even for new practitioners, that they're just opening up their practice, those are all the kinds of questions that I see in the optometry related Facebook groups. That those are the questions that keep coming up: is what would you bill? How would you bill for this? And you and I both know experts in the field that can actually lend some knowledge in that arena. So
for sure.
That's fantastic. And of course, the marketing end of things, I'll certainly be looking forward to helping you out with that as well. It's a passion.
And I'm so excited to have you on there with that, because I think that's going to bring such a next level to this. And like you say, I mean, in terms of the pricing side of things, a lot of stuff that I've realized is very universal. There's a lot of conversations you can have that still gives you the concept of what you're busy with without having to deal with the physical dollar value in that conversation. So it's all about the vision, about what it is that you're busy doing. And this is something I do want to say, because I think a lot of optometrists worldwide end up focusing a lot on the medical pay, and the problem that we're having in South Africa is that it's such a restrictive system. Medical funds tend to just pay X amount for X thing. And I really don't feel that they value the services we render, especially when it comes to specialized care. Specialized care in South Africa is non-existent when it comes to medical fund payments, because they just don't recognize it as part of our scope. We are paid for a basic consult, and that's that. So a lot of the way I teach has become, focus on what the value add is that you're giving to the patient. Focus on the actual what do you call it? The improvement that you're bringing to the patient, and worry about the fees and the funding afterwards. Okay, that is a training that's important, like you say, and that's something that you need to train your staff on. They need to know exactly how that works. But as a doctor, I don't feel we should have that conversation with the patient. It shouldn't be, what we do shouldn't be solely focused around what we get paid to do.
Oh, absolutely. And it's, no matter where you live, that's, I think that's the difference, where you get this unique selling proposition, as we say in the marketing world, is how you set yourself apart. And patients feel that. They know that when you're showing that you care more about them than about what you're getting paid to do for them, they know that. They know that from the beginning, from the phone call of when, the office scheduler is making the appointments. They know right away that they can feel that care and concern. And it is what sets certain practices apart. But this is a neat tool, now that you say that, for countries that, where it is just capped at a certain fee, to bring awareness to the country. And again, I don't know if it would even affect some of the legislation, but certainly as you bring more and more attention towards the fact that we do need to specialize, we all need to specialize. And I know in our country, it's almost a matter of survival. There's all these concerns, and again, any country, there's these concerns about online eye exams. And, there are certain generations now that are coming up that would much rather do everything online than actually step foot into a practice. There's caveats to that, but there are certain generations, to stereotype, where they would rather, be able to do something right from the comfort of their own home. And we need to set ourselves apart from that, because if that happens, then we've got to start looking at, is our career going to completely disappear, or are we going to be innovative and come up with ways that we can provide better care, advanced care, unique care, which is all of what you're talking about, and it's all of what you're educating. And now to get your entire staff on board, and again, the marketing arm of things, all of that, the branding and everything is all saying the same kind of things and the same messages. that's again where you rise to the top. You've got consistency of your content, et cetera, and consistency of message to the patients. So they're not confused, because a confused patient never
Exactly.
buys, or a confused patient never schedules with you.
Exactly.
This is such a broad, wider scope of, possibly even what you had imagined initially. This is just wonderful. This is fantastic.
No, and that's exactly like you say. I mean, and if I'm looking at that now, I'm thinking, with dry eye, there's been a lot of conversation about dry eye clinics, and I structured my own dry eye clinic, and the amount of return revenue that is brought back into my business, even during COVID time, has been insane. If it wasn't for that, I can guarantee you I would have really struggled a lot, because these patients are now in the clinic system. They are seen once a week to once a month for their treatment. They just come back for that treatment once a month, and that's just one of those things that continue bringing feedback into your business, and that they cannot get online. They cannot get a dry eye treatment anywhere on an app somewhere online,
Sure.
So these are the things that, like you say, that we're trying to build into these courses, trying to teach into these courses, and say, okay, how are we going to actually keep the patient in our office? How are we going to keep them coming back to you? And if we can't, if there's an app that comes out, how do we utilize that technology to still then keep our patients, And that's the next level, which I don't know if we're going to go there today, but I mean, disruptive technology is everywhere. We either can embrace it, or we can run away from it. And in courses like the business, courses that's going to come up, we're definitely going to talk about, marketing tools and apps that's available. But how do you actually use that to bring the patient back into the office instead of servicing them online?
Well, and it's crystal clear you continue to stay right at the cutting edge. So I love that. I mean, you're always forward thinking. You're always thinking about, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? I need to either create something or create the resources to be able to provide that for the eye care providers that watch what you're doing. It's incredible. It's amazing. And, to see all of these I see dry eye spas popping up, dry eye salons. So they're actually reaching a demographic that may not have realized that they actually fit the bill to go to these doctors, because they didn't realize that there's so much more to it. And, it's such a chronic issue. And what you're setting up is something, again, in the marketing world that we call recurring revenue. You're almost guaranteeing that there's going to be a certain level of income that you're going to get. And again, you're not doing this to get that recurring revenue. It's just, by the way, by offering these services and teaching the staff how to offer these services, now all of a sudden the doctors are having these recurring patients. And again, we every patient, in a sense, if we take good care of them, it is recurring revenue, because they're coming in once a year to see us. So, even if it's an annual thing, but if you're getting monthly patients coming back, whether it's glaucoma care, dry eye care, whatever it may be, you're sort of getting that base guaranteed income. And by the way, you're fixing a problem that perhaps no other eye care provider has been able to do. The patients have been talking for years and years to try to get this chronic problem under wraps. And, a doctor hasn't been able to take the time, or they just can't offer those services because they have high volume or whatever it may be, or they haven't taken your courses to figure out how to do it. So that, you get these very happy patients. All of a sudden, guess what they're going to do? They're going to recommend their friends and their family. So, you're going to be top of mind, so that the actual lifetime value of a patient is not perhaps $250 or $500 of what your usual and customary, patient fees are. It becomes tens of thousands of dollars, because you're getting them and you're also getting all the referrals that come in. And then all of a sudden, you're now the expert in your local demographic, because nobody else offers these particular services. And all of this can be learned inside mygurumed.com.
Absolutely.
I promise I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart, because I really believe in what you're doing.
Thanks.
Yes, you did not pay me to say these things, but
I did not.
And if anybody's watching, any of the live broadcasts that I've done in the past, I absolutely love software that helps catapult us as a profession forward. And there are so many in the last 3 or 4 live broadcasts. I've had, several amazing doctors who have gotten on board with creating this other product, which is software to help our profession grow. Tell me a little bit about, and feel free to, break in and if I'm taking you too off key here, but tell me how long it took you to go from the idea to actually creating this platform and starting to get some of these courses actually online, because you do have these courses actually running. And again, I can tell you're going to be adding a lot more courses in the future.
Yeah, so I think anyone who's done content creation will know that it's quite a process, but I think I was very blessed. So when I started, the concept was about start mid 2019, kind of fiddled around with it, and we did most of the initial video recording in November of 2019. And then things kind of came to a halt. I just didn't get around to it. And then COVID happened, and I sat at home for about 8 weeks because they closed us down for 8 weeks. And as much as it's been a really bad thing for the world as a whole, it created time. It created a lot of time, and that allowed me to get this up and running. So it literally took me about 6 weeks to my first launch, where we launched the Dry Eye Masterclass the first time in April of 2020. And it's just kind of gone from there. I wanted to do at least some video production every week. I reshuffled my schedule a little bit. So I'm in the practice half days, and then with the kids in the afternoon, and I spend late afternoons doing content creation. So I try and at least content create at least 2 to 3 days a week now. Which is helping a lot. It's giving me the capacity to deliver new content on a regular basis, and that's kind of the dream, I think. Is to keep, like you said, keep ahead of the information, because you have to keep reading up. And as a professional person, I still want to keep growing. So I've got a PhD in the wings hanging around that needs to get done at some stage as well. And I'm just busy studying for board. So I'm doing the SUNY board exam in March. So that also has to happen.
Wow.
So alongside that, it creates the information in my head, which allows me to produce it back out into a video. So, but time is sometimes a bit of a challenge, but when one just has to commit to you just have to commit. So I've got a diary. I mean, my Google Calendar is just insane. You don't want to see my Google Calendar.
I bet. No, and the big question.
I've got everything scheduled in there. Every patient appointment, every kid's appointment, every swimming meet I've got to be at, and every video recording I've got scheduled on my Google Calendar.
Wow.
Because it just has to happen that way. Otherwise, the day just goes crazy.
Well, and that sounds like another live broadcast, how to be maximally productive as an entrepreneur and as an optometrist. And it's funny, the question, I seem to be asking this question a lot, is do you sleep? Any of my entrepreneurial optometrists, they have that same absolute personality. It's we're doing all kinds of things, whether we have a little bit of an attention deficit thing going on, but it's just that drive. It's that absolute drive to keep producing things that are going to help others absolutely grow. And it is crystal clear that you're doing that. Let's talk about too, you've got something else. You had given me a link. Well, let me do this first. Where can people, you're creating this content everywhere. Let me go ahead and type a couple things in the banner. Where can we find you on, wherever it is that you're creating content? Where are your social media platforms that you're doing this?
So obviously GuruMed is live and running at mygurumed.com. You guys are welcome to go up there and go and have a look what's there at the moment. Then my YouTube channel is live, and I try and do at least, say, 2 content pieces on there. And that is just the important stuff, the day-to-day conversation stuff happens on the YouTube channel. And then
the YouTube channel is the YouTube channel your name, or is it My Guru Med?
It's actually not. I will quickly share the link for you as well, so that you have that as well.
Okay.
So then from there, the social media, I try and be quite active on social media, because I find that everyone has access to their social media, and that actually allows us to to communicate. And I really want to ask you guys, everyone out there listening, please interact with us on social media. If there's anything specific that you want to learn or that you want to know about, I love going and finding answers to questions. So, if one can actually give me some ideas of what it is that you guys are maybe struggling with, then we can, hit that in the YouTube channel and stuff as well. I can't seem to find the YouTube link now.
That's okay. Well, we'll drop it in the comments after the live goes on replay. Don't worry about that. So, but it's basically you do a lot of interacting on your YouTube channel, and we can drop all of the links. But it's YouTube channel. You'll interact there. Where else do you interact? Is it on Facebook? Do you have a Facebook page?
Yeah. So Facebook, Guru Med has its own Facebook page there as well, and then I've got my own personal one. But I try and separate the things. So yeah, when there's so many things happening, you want to try and be specific about where it goes. So Guru Med has got its own Facebook page, and a lot of the courses and the new course when it comes available will go on there as well.
Okay. And we'll definitely drop those links. That's fantastic. So tell me a little bit about I've got a, let me pull this down. I can actually bring it up. Let me bring down this screen. Let me just ask you this. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? If you need to scroll down or anything, is there anything else you'd like to talk about this particular site and platform?
No, I think we covered it. So just at the bottom here, this is coming soon. And like I said to you guys, is that we are definitely getting some instructors on board. There's about 5 coming, which will bring in the specialities like specialty contact lenses. You'll see there's an ortho-K, and there'll be sclerals and RGPs coming soon. As well as PEDS and BV. PEDS and BV is a very big part of my heart. And I've got a very good colleague in the Netherlands who's planning on bringing some PEDS content in for us where that's concerned. So, and then obviously the practice engineering, the business side of things, Sandy is going to bring some content to that table. We've got quite a lot that we want to add in terms of the marketing side. So guys, this is really where I think we should be going at the moment, with the world being where it is, and COVID having all of us scrambling a little bit. It's time to refocus, and we have the resources to get you going where you need to go with new age marketing, if you want to call it, because everything's changed.
Absolutely. It keeps changing. But I am, to kind of circle back, I am very impressed with how quickly you got this up. You saw the need, you thought about it, but then all of a sudden COVID hit, and you took advantage of the fact that this was the perfect time. And it actually makes sense, because it was the perfect time for others to go ahead and set it up. So let me go ahead and bring up the other one, and then...
Yeah, and I mean, your question was, do you sleep? I mean, in that stage when development was happening, the answer is absolutely no, because the kids were at home. We were homeschooling for like 10 months. Please, I never want to do that again in my life.
No,
I've got huge respect for my teachers. So we were homeschooling in the day. And so when the kids go to bed at 7:30, that's when I would sit down and do some work, So yeah, sleep is not part of the program. It's not on my Google Calendar.
No, absolutely not. Let me go ahead and hide my other banner. Let me bring this up. So this is another platform and product that you provide. So I threw up the resources page. You had given me that link, so I wanted to throw that up. But go ahead and talk a little bit about this as well. What does this offer the eye care industry? Opticalpathways.com.
So Optical Pathways came about in the need of having a hub system where the industry can go and find what it is that they need. So again, all of this comes from a need that I find from myself. I don't have the time to go and search through 10 million sites to get the information that I need. So we realized that if we can bring this all together into a hub system and we can make it available in one place, it's going to save a lot of time and effort for the eye care industry to go and look and find what it is that they're looking for. So on Optical Pathways, we will be sharing resources, free downloadable resources, information, product reviews, because that's important as well. And for me, a product review has to be as honest as possible, so the product reviews that I've done is really based on my physical use of the product, the pros and cons in it, because you want to know that what it is that you're going to be investing in is actually going to do what you need it to do. And you don't want a biased review. You want something that's straight out, and you want to make sure that that is what you're getting at the end of it, you know? So on the review and apps, that's basically what it is we review equipment as well as apps in the industry. And again, that thing is growing exponentially. The speed at which this is growing is insane, because the apps that's coming available on the market now is literally 20 million a second. It's insane, you know? So sure. We want to be able to, as an industry, we want to be able to make sure that we still deliver high quality. So you don't have the time to now test out 20 different apps doing the same thing. So that's where that comes in. So I've committed to say, okay, I want to try as much of these things that I can find physically in my practice on my patients. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Chuck it and go with whatever works, you know. So that's what will be available on Optical Pathways. At the moment, I've just released 3 downloadable resources on Optical Pathways that you guys can see on there. This is specifically focused on partial material that I have available on my dry eye masterclass and business masterclass on GuruMed. But this is the dry eye grading ebook is an incredible resource for grading dry eye tests. Firstly, how to do the tests, but then also the norms and the values that you can actually kind of assess the patient on. The problem in the industry is there's no standardization across the world, and not everyone has the software to do this for them. So if you don't have a software program that does your grading and does your norming, what do you do? You know, you kind of guess. So the ebook has taken that out, and then ebook 2nd edition is in production at the moment, where it's going to be an interactive video-based ebook where I actually go through each technique, physically doing each technique, how to do the technique, and then also how to grade it on video. So when you open the ebook, there is some links to that already. When you open the ebook, click on some of the images and you'll see it'll pop up a video, which will then show you exactly how to get that done. The dry eye checklist is basically the things you need to get, or the things you need to have in place when you establishing a dry eye clinic. So how do I go about setting up a dry eye clinic, and what do I need to get that in terms of equipment and resources? So that's the checklist. And then the quick referral, and this is a big marketing thing that I think optometrists are losing out on. We're not getting our patients back from our interdisciplinary referral. So we send a patient to a GP or to an ophthalmologist or whatever the case might be, but those patients never come back to us for whatever reason. Right. The quick referral template. The quick referral templates is a pre-designed template booklet which you can rebrand. And what you do is you go and hand them out at your pharmacy, at your medical practitioners. So the first person they see when they have a patient and they want to refer will be your referral template booklet. Doctors don't have the time to write out big, long stories. They just have a tick box there. The tick box says emergency dry eye, specialty, contact lenses, refraction, whatever it is that they want to send the patient to you for, and they can literally just tick it off. So that also, you guys can just download it for free and just rebrand it and print it out for whatever you need to use it for.
Awesome. Very generous of you to create these and provide them and allow them to be able to go ahead and white label it, I guess is how we put it, but rebrand it.
Yes.
Wonderful. Fantastic. I love it. Thank you so much for providing that.
It's a pleasure. The only thing worth adding is that with Optical Pathways, the Optical Pathways Facebook group, we are running a weekly case study. So on Fridays, we try and do it on Friday. It's called #FactFriday. So although last week I was late and I #FactFriday on Monday, so sorry about that. But we try and run it on a Friday morning, and it's because it's in terms of anterior seg, we do a lot of pathology, and there's some interesting cases that's been coming up. And yeah, come on, guys, get involved with the conversation. The more of us who get involved, and the information that's shared is so valuable between practitioners and between countries. We learn so much from each other. And again, that is my heart in this whole thing, is that we share our information and we share our resources so that we can build a stronger profession, in the world all together. So yeah, join us Fact Friday on Optical Pathways on Facebook.
Awesome. Fact Friday. I should have put that on there. It's great. Well,
I'll
thank
try
you.
and not do Fake Friday on a Monday again.
That's right. That's wonderful. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that we may not have covered, or a question you wish I had asked but didn't? I know we got to cover a lot, and you are one busy person. My gosh, you
No,
think
I
we
just
covered
think,
it all?
I think we covered everything. I think, from the conversations that I've had, I think I just want to leave a thought and say, you know what, whatever your heart and your dream is, you need to chase that, and if your vision is to grow something, you know what, it's not going to happen without you actually stepping into that space. There's always a space for an individual entrepreneur. We all do something different. We can do the same thing, but it all comes out differently. So my vision has been to create these platforms to give people access and give people platforms to also be themselves. So there's always space to incorporate instructors. So if you're interested to become an instructor with GuruMe, please give me a shout. My email address, which Sandy will probably pop up for us, is marietjie@mygurumate.com. So you're welcome to pop me a mail if you're interested in doing instructing work. It's really very, shall I say, fulfilling to take your information and share it out. And then on optical pathways, yeah, there's an E missing.
I know there is, and I know that. Shame on me. Hang on.
Sorry.
I've got it. Sorry.
And then, keep an eye on optical pathways. We really want to try and make as many resources available for the industry as possible. If you have a resource that you want to share, or you have a training platform that you want to make available as well, give me a shout, pop me an email. As creative director of Optical Pathways, we really want to have a chat and see how we get as much information together in one place as possible. So I'm very open to conversations. Pop me a message, an email, pop me a LinkedIn message or a Facebook message or whatever. These days we are available on pretty much everywhere. So I would love to hear from you guys.
Yes, and thank you so much. And that's such a great point about having space. There's just, I know a lot of optometrists, and I consult with several and coach them, and they feel like things are absolutely just taken over or swamped. Oh, everybody else is doing it. And it's not true. There's just so many opportunities if you want to either contribute to the profession in content, in platforms. There's just so many different ways. And again, I've begun to show that with all of these other entrepreneurial optometrists that are, by day practicing optometry, and by night or by weekend are doing platforms such as what you've brought to the table. So I am just thrilled to see this. It's an amazing platform. It's an amazing opportunity, both of them, to be able to bring your staff on board and to expedite that process of training and teaching, and also offering our colleagues and professionals ways in which they can build their own practices and grow their wealth. And that's, I'm all about that. Increase time, increase wealth, and spend time with our friends and family, et cetera. So again, thank you so much, Marietjie. I really appreciate it. And, for those watching live on the replay, thank you also for taking the time out of your very busy day to join us for the Insight segment of Eye Care Marketing Insights, Innovation, and Impact. I have to say my own show, right? But again, I'm your host, Dr. Sandy Eveleth, your eye care marketing OD, and as a certified master marketer and certified digital business consultant, I love helping eye care professionals attract more ideal patients to maximize their wealth, time, and practice growth. If you'd like to book an innovative strategic marketing session with me, go to drsandyeveleth.com/book Dr. Sandy. And thanks again. And I absolutely look forward to seeing all of you in the next live broadcast.